Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema. Sit down. As you can see, we are in my New York City hotel room as we are in the midst of day 3 at Comic-Con. Yes, I'm doing things a little out of order. I won't lie to you. These first 2 days, as amazing as they have been physically grueling, man. Being on your feet from like 6 o'clock in the morning to like midnight it takes a lot out of you. And when I've been getting home, I've been passing out. And when I woke up this morning, I woke up later than I wanted to because I was really tired. I got out my 2 trailer reactions I needed to do, which was hitting Daredevil Season 3's trailer and Aquaman's second extended sneak peek trailer. But did not get a chance to record my day 2 recap video. So that is what we are here for now, man. I'm about halfway through. I guess about 3/4 of the way through day 3, and had a specific reason to come back. Game of Thrones was teamed up with Johnny Walker, and they were doing a tasting and a purchase. And if you purchased the scotch, we were found out right before I walked out the door, man. They found out you're not allowed to bring that back into the con, which makes sense. You're not supposed to bring outside food or drinks into the show at the Javits Center. So it gave me the opportunity to come back, drop stuff off, or 2 of my friends went and hit a panel they wanted to check out. I was like, I've seen all the panels I wanted to see so far. You guys go hit one for yourselves. And I came back to drop that stuff off, and boom, now I'm here. I was like, you know what? Let me get my day 2 recap in real quick. So pull up a chair, man. Take a seat. We're going to run through my experience of day 2. I'm sure there were some things I've missed. There were plenty of panels and things I weren't able to get to, obviously, because you can only do so many. So there's plenty of stuff I'm sure that happened at the con that I'm unaware of or haven't quite seen or just briefly saw, not enough to talk about. But to just give my personal rundown of the day, man. Woke up, head down to Javits, and like mind-blowingly different from Thursday, right? Like still not packed the way I'm assuming Saturday has been today. I was at the Garden the first 3/4 of the day, checking out awesome panels, which we'll talk about tomorrow or later tonight, one of the two. So I haven't been there yet, but I'm assuming it's been a mob scene. And Thursday seems so light. And he showed up Friday, and boom, the cosplayers were out in full effect, man. Saw tons of Spider-Man. Like, if you played Spider-Man in the PS4 game, you know there are lots of suits, man. There were so many different Spider-Man suits yesterday. There was a Doctor Strange who had a separate person being the cape, so it could float in and out. Even when they were walking, they could raise the cape up and down. That was dope. Just walking the floor yesterday was awesome. As busy as it was, just so much more to see, both from whether people or just things that I missed walking around day 1. Just a ton to see. Really, really nice. All of the different cosplaying I saw. All sorts of stuff, man. If you want to see some of it, make sure you hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at cinema_sitdown. Instagram's a little light yet. I haven't posted anything on there, but I will throw a whole bunch of photos up. And Twitter, I've been throwing everything on Twitter while I've been running around. So, I mean, just walking into the Javits every day has been a pleasure, even not walking in today. I mean, walking in the Garden, too. Anywhere you go that's Comic-Con oriented so far, just an absolute pleasure, man, to be surrounded by your people, right? Our people, my people. Folks that can speak comics and nerdy stuff and just, like, people who don't care about what other people think. That's one of the great things about con, man, is you go to the con and you're surrounded by all those people. You don't have to worry about people judging you and whatnot. And even outside that, man, as folks who love to dress up, myself included, I'm not dressing up this year, but I'm a huge Halloween guy, and I will certainly, if we do San Diego or New York next year, add something good. But yeah, man, like, it's just one of those, like, you just don't care. So even when you're walking in the city, my hotel's a bit a ways from the Javits, and you're amongst normal people, man. You just see all these people out, like, dressed up, just enjoying what the con is, man. It's been fantastic to experience that. Now, from stuff I saw inside, man, lots of great things yesterday. I started my day hitting the queue lines immediately before meeting up with my buddy and his girlfriend, walk around, and check out the floor. And then went right back down to get in line for the Lois and Clark 25th anniversary panel, which was fantastic, man. Terry Hatcher, you are a goddess. She looked amazing yesterday. The minute she stepped on stage, you're just like, whew. It's one thing to see a person on screen, another thing to see a person in person. She is just a gorgeous woman. And then just talk about being awesome in general, man. Like the stuff she was giving up during the panel. And the Q&A was great. And she was talking about how, like, when they did the show, way back when, that was what, 93. Um, one, superhero stuff and comic stuff and nerd stuff wasn't mainstream, and like, we were still, kind of keeping to ourselves back then. And she was not a comic person, and it wasn't established, niche of media where like you had to be a comic person if you were going to get involved, right? If you're going to get involved, like anyone that gets involved in the movies now, they read the comics, they make sure they know the material. Terry didn't know that. And that's fine, because it worked for that show. That show wasn't based off of specific material. It gave you, it's so progressive when you really think about the current landscape we're in and the way people, look at like minorities and women and representation in film and stuff, and to have a Superman TV show be driven by Lois Lane and then secondarily driven by the Lois Lane Clark Kent relationship, and have Superman third, super progressive for its time way back in the early 90s. So to know that was what gravitated her to the material. And then when she came out of it, she was like, in the last 2 years, she's become a legitimate comic book person. Now, there's a comic book shop around the corner from where she lives. And, having been involved in a lot of that stuff, right? Like now that with the Supergirl stuff, her and Dean have both been on there. They were both on Smallville at other times, doing all this other stuff. She was like, let me go check out the comic book store. And now she says she's there weekly. And she's got all of her comics that she likes, most of them independent comics, or not independent, but not Cape comics, right? Not soups. You ain't got superheroes in most of the comics that she has. But yeah, it's like just really cool to hear someone who's become so iconic. And even for me, to this day, if you say, who's Lois Lane? I'm like, Terry Hatcher. That's my childhood, man. Like, Terry Hatcher will always be my Lois Lane. Like to hear that she's adapted into the, kind of grown into the culture herself personally, away from the material. Really, really cool, man. That was really awesome to hear. Dean Cain had tons of awesome insights. The two of them talking about their relationship on set, offset, just their natural chemistry. Like they didn't have any readings or anything, and they met each other and just, it was natural, which you could tell. The way they riff on that show was just brilliant. And then my favorite thing that Dean had to say was the fact that, like, now getting to work in some of the TV shows that he's worked in and the other superhero things he's been around, he's like, man, do I have, like, suit envy, man. Like, back in the day, man, like, Dean Cain was essentially wearing what a lot of cosplayers wear, man, that just spandex pullover. Like, everything you saw on Dean was all Dean. There wasn't no padding. There wasn't no plastic shiny stuff to make you look cool. Like, look, man, I'm a tall dude. But I'm fairly skinny. If you put me in a superhero costume now, man, I ain't got big arms. Look at that. That's not, they're normal size. You put me in one of these suits now, man, you'd think I'd be like, I'd be looking like Shazam, like big and stuff. And even if you didn't want to like add the padding, just the general development of the suits themselves make you look like you're cut without doing any gym work. So the place went wild. It was like, yo, Dean, give yourself credit, man. Like that was all you. But he was like, it is really cool to see the suits now, man. He's like, I got on set with Melissa on Supergirl and was just like, can I touch that? Like, that's so beautiful. It was just really cool to see the two of them like talking about current superhero movies and things, and just everything about that panel was awesome. The crowd was on fire. The Q&A questions were all really, really good. You got to learn a lot. Like, it was one of the funniest moments of that panel was when a dude was like, yeah, so like after Lois and Clark, like, what was it like just not being able to get gigs for a long time to Terry Hatcher? And Terry was like, I had a baby. Went into the story that, like, she grew up with a working mom and loves, not there's no bad relationships and appreciates everything her mom did for her, or her family in general. But, like, when you have the two working parents, it makes it tougher for kids. And some people don't have that, don't have the ability to not be working parents. And I love that she called that out. And she was like, you respect the people that do it because you know why. But being Terry Hatcher, when she was pregnant, she had the money and she had the ability to say, I don't have to work. I can stay home with my kid for 4 or 5 years. And that's what she did. Just awesome stories, man. The panel was just great. So awesome seeing them. Left that panel, immediately followed up by almost, he's not my namesake per se, but like in high school, people certainly confused me with him many times because my last name starts with an M. To go see the Boy Meets World panel and see the actual Corey Matthews when I was called Corey Matthews so many times in my childhood. To see him in person and talking and stuff was so cool, and that panel was amazing. You want to talk about like Lois and Clark, man, just the nostalgia of being in that room, seeing those two people together in one place at one time, talking about all this stuff, man, my nostalgia was through the roof. I stepped into the Boy Meets World panel, and if it was through the roof, it went out of the universe by the time that was over, man. Seeing Will Friedle, Eric, Danielle Fishel, Topanga, and Ben Savage, obviously Corey Matthews. See the three of them on stage interacting, especially Will Friedle, man. Will, if you followed closely with the show or the acting, and Will Friedle, no stranger to cons, man. I mean, he's been Batman on Batman Beyond. He's done tons of voice work over the years, but during that stretch, he kind of disappeared. Which was nice that he went into the fact and talked about like his anxiety and how it drove him to kind of become. Danielle Fishel, I mentioned, there were like a year or two where he wouldn't even leave his house. So to see Will Friedle out and about at a con again, and just and being fully present, not having to be like where if you heard him say that like the anxiety drove him to like not leave the house, and you saw him on stage this weekend, you'd have no clue, man. And it was so great to see him there. He was so funny, man. Every time the panel needed a joke or a one line, he would just drop him in there. His reaction to fan questions and stuff was great. Same with Fishel and Ben Savage. I'm not gonna lie to you, he probably wasn't, but I was like multiple times I was like, is Ben Savage on anything right now? He could not for the life of him comprehend half the questions coming his way, which was I don't know if it was part of the act. It felt very Corey Matthews. It was just hysterical, man. And one is hard to see, so he was always covering an eye, so you try to see who was asking the questions. And like you just some of them. Not gonna lie to you, much like the Lois and Clark panel, the Boy Meets World panel, they were bringing real questions, man. Even Ben Savage was like I thought you guys were gonna ask us like, what's your favorite like pizza topping? Interesting, like weird, strange questions like that. And the crowd was getting into like really deep stuff. And thank God for Danielle Fishel, man. Every time Ben Savage didn't know what was going on, and to his credit, some of the questions were all over the place and very confusing if you weren't locked in. But then watching Fishel like explain the questions like back to him, and then Will Friedle being there and be like, 25 years. This has been my life for 25 years. These two, this is what happens. Like he's like they're having secret conversations right now. I tell you what they're talking about, and then it was what they were talking about. It was just so cool to hear them talking about Boy Meets World, about Girl Meets World, about their experiences on both. Just their experiences from what Boy Meets World gave them, how they're like, a tight-knit family now, like outside the shows, and obviously like Ben and Danielle have been working together basically for 25 years. And that was the other thing, big drop. Danielle Fishel and Will Friedle announced that they are trying to work on something together. They've shot a pilot that they're pitching around, and it would be awesome to see the two of them in a room together. That would be really cool. And that whole panel, man, was just awesome nostalgia feels. It was really cool to just see them interacting, to really understand how tight-knit those guys are. I mean, sometimes they were finishing sentence. Like I said, the Danielle and Ben stuff was great. They were hysterical. The crowd was on fire. And it was wonderful, man. And both, well, not, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to Lois and Clark for a minute, because not in both situations. But it was mentioned in the Boy Meets World. But everybody was at one point like, can we, like, let's do... let's bring it back, right? Lois and Clark, even Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain were both like, it would be great to do a show about Lois and Clark 25 years later and see where they are in their lives based off of that television universe. And like the crowd went wild. You had 3,000 people, and Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher like, let's do Lois and Clark again, man. Everybody would be on board. I'm shouting at you, DC, man. Talk to the right people. Give it to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Give it to somebody. Let somebody bring that back, because that would be awesome to see. And then same thing, it was mentioned during the Boy Meets World panel, because a lot of people were disappointed with the fact that Girl Meets World was more about the girls and not about Corey and Topanga. Where it was like, hey, you can bring back Boy Meets World 25 years later, man. Like, bring everybody back. Let's see what all these adults are doing. Get into the adult stories and stuff. It was just awesome, man. To see those two growing up, watching both of those shows religiously, like, it was just so cool to see those people all in one place at one time talking about those shows from 25 years ago like they never left. So all that stuff was really, really awesome. We, of course, had a humongous trailer drop yesterday, the 5-minute long Aquaman trailer. I'm not even going to get into that because we watched that together this morning. If you haven't seen it, boom, check it out. Make sure you check out my Aquaman trailer reaction. Really great stuff. Would have wished to have seen, like a panel there. DC and Marvel kind of a lot lighter on their personal workloads for this con. But what was really cool, and I've been preaching it all weekend long, man, is Zachary Levi is the guy to save DC, and clearly the Aquaman franchise too. I mean, that movie, those two movies could get DC back on track and get fans that are not behind them back behind them again, man. Because they just both look phenomenal. And my thing with Zachary Levi is, here's a guy who is one of us, right? He's a nerd. He's a comic book dude. I said that in my Comic-Con Day 1 recap. And he just emphasized all of it last night. He's here all 4 days. He has no panel. He had a 30-minute interview on the Sci-Fi Wire stage. And here he is, man, all 4 days signing, taking photos. Tweets out, hey, I'm going to take more. If you missed photo ops or missed signatures, I'm going to be back for both on Sunday. Not only am I doing that, but I am now going to have a panel all my own at 4 o'clock, nothing but Q&A. And it was something that, which was so awesome about that, is something he alluded to during his Sci-Fi Wire live stage interview, was the fact that this is what he loves, man, to have the conversation with the fans. As actors, as producers, as writers, as directors, they all have a vision that they want to try to see come to life, right? And when you look at the fans, especially the comic book fans, right? I mean, we're so ingrained in this stuff. The vision we have does not always match up with what the studio has. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't mesh and it still works. But he's like, but what's nice is the ability to have that conversation. Be like, well, I didn't like this, or I didn't like this, or where are you going with this? Let me know what you're thinking. And boom, now he's got a Q&A on Sunday, a reason to stick around in New York if you're here. Don't get out early, man. 4 o'clock, Zachary Levi going to be doing a Q&A. I can't say enough good things about the guy, and I hope that movie does phenomenal. I really hope he is a major part in getting DC back on the track we all want to see it on, where he's a powerhouse the way Marvel is. Although if Kevin Feige has his way, that won't necessarily happen. But I mean, as true comic book fans, we shouldn't be DC and Marvel folks, man. We should be all comics all the time, and just want to see all of this stuff succeed, because it's our childhood, right? I mean, for most of us, it's our childhood. Things we grew up with. So many of us never thought we'd see it on the big screen, let alone see it at cons that are this big. I mean, see how many people are showing up, where you're looking at over 300,000 probably going into next San Diego, over 200,000 people here. It's just absolutely wild. And it was just so great to take in, those panels yesterday. And then I was like, I've been in the Javits for a day and a half. I got to spread my wings and fly out into the world. And there's not a ton of Comic-Con stuff just going on in the city, like for non-Comic-Coners. There's obviously some things going on, but like not a ton. But the Hammerstein Ballroom's been active every day, showing lots of world premieres and things of that nature. And I was totally locked in to go see the world premiere for Night Flyers, the new series coming to Sci-Fi based off of George R.R. Martin's novella of the same name. And anything with George R.R. Martin attached to it, I'm in. I mean, when they released their first bit of like trailer, kind of like special footage stuff, you heard him say how this was going to be like Psycho in space. It is more than that, man. They showed us the first episode, world premiere, first episode of Night Flyers. I can't believe I gotta wait as long as we got. I think it's December, for that one to come out. But oh my gosh, dude! It like the opening scene. And I won't give spoilers, but like I just sat there and I watched. I was like, this is like The Shining, man. And I walked out there going, this is like The Shining and Psycho were thrown in a blender, and whatever that contents was just tossed into space. And that's what it is, man. It's like Psycho and Shining in space. And what was even better is like listening to the showrunner and the directors talking about how so much of the stuff that goes on in the show is actually pulled from their own personal favorite things from horror movies. So yeah, you're going to see The Shining in there. You're going to see elements from Psycho. You're going to see elements from things like Halloween, or like just things that all the great horror movies you could think of have kind of had some sort of influence and inspiration into Night Flyers. And some of it's been like adapted in a way where you can take things from those properties and use them in Night Flyers that just build suspense and terror in like a really awesome way. Like I said, that opening sequence in The Shining, it's not like they ripped the script off. But it has so many elements that are so very familiar that immediately you're just like, this, I feel like I've been transported someplace, but I'm seeing something new. And it was awesome. The suspense that was built in the first episode, the terror and actual like fear in the first episode, all off the charts. The cast was phenomenal. And like they said, man, this set was built over acres and acres of land. They built out this spaceship set where it's like, just a lot of like hallways that you're running out. But they said it was so intricate that like even at the end of 6 months of filming, like you'd still get lost. And it pays off that it is all physically there, man. I'm so excited for Sci-Fi because I've been touting them for a while, man. Sci-Fi's programming is really, really good. And to see it just being able to elevate itself, have the backing and the money to do something that George R. R. Martin made. We don't have to go to HBO for this stuff. And to get that type of quality out of Sci-Fi, it's absolutely amazing. Having everything be practical on set, which they talked about during the panel, is amazing, right? Like you might walk around that set and see things that look like a construction site, but the way it's shot and the way it's all put together, having things practically physically there just elevate the material in and of itself. And then what was really cool was that after the episode was over and the cast came out for the Q&A, like they were all like, you got to give us a second to like catch our own breaths, because we're all reeling from that, because we filmed it and we acted it, but we've never seen it delivered. Like when they were acting, like you could see, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, when you were on set, you could see how it looked like a construction site, and to watch it edited and filmed, you'd have no clue that like stuff wasn't on. Like you'd think you were actually on a ship. It was so good. It was the perfect way to wrap up kind of my panel and event type stuff yesterday before hopping back into the con to do a couple of different walkthroughs. I did one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a lot of fun. Get that up out on social media. It's like a 4-second video where like I was holding. You can take any weapon you wanted from the Ninja Turtles for Nickelodeon's The Rise of the Ninja Turtles, and I, of course, being a Leonardo guy, grabbed the sword, and they were like 4 seconds is what it was. It was obviously filmed longer than 4. It's like a sped up thing, and it looks fantastic. I felt like an idiot doing the stuff I was doing, man. I was like, like making like, sword type maneuvers or whatnot, and then when I got the 4-second video, I was like, oh wow, that actually looks cool. Like I was doing it, I was like, I'm stumbling, I look stupid. I'll put that up on social media later on, hopefully today. But yeah, I mean, just all that, going back to the con, all that stuff was good. But Night Flyers, man, what a way to end like content for day 2. And like I said, day 2 was just a blast for me, man. Getting to go through some of the walkthroughs, like the Ninja Turtle one, some of the other ones, which I'm gonna try to wrap up on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Anything I didn't get to do on the show floor, I'm gonna try to hit that tomorrow. But man, day 2 was just wild. It was a bigger whirlwind than day 1. I felt more comfortable than I did in day 1, right? Because I had my bearings. I knew where I was. I knew how to do things. But just so many things were going on. And that can't even touch what today has been, man. I can't wait to do my day 3 recap with you guys. Because the stuff I have seen, if you're following me on Twitter right now, woo, man. I've been saying that New York Comic Con's been kind of low key. And Saturday, Hulu Theater at the Garden certainly blew that concept away. I've left obviously the Garden to be here, so I'm not seeing the Star Trek or the Outlanders or the Walking Dead panels. Those are all 3 shows that I want to watch, but I'm behind on, so I don't want personally to have anything spoiled by watching this stuff. So I was like, you know what, I can get out, I can do some other things. But the stuff I've seen today, I can't wait to talk about that later. And if you really, really want to know, go hit up Twitter, man. All that stuff's out there. That's it, man. That's all I got to say about day 2 at the con. If you are attending the con, man, hit those comments down below. Let me know what your favorite things were from day 2, which was Friday, yesterday. And, let me know what you were enjoying, what you've seen, what you're liking, what you're digging. If you're not at the con, tell me what you're liking and seeing and digging based on what you are from your computer. So much stuff is out there, whether it's panels or just on Twitter or Instagram, seeing pictures and stuff. Let me know everything there that you're not that you're liking. If you haven't been here, is the con something you want to do? If you're not sure about it, man, if you're a nerd, you can't be in a place with more nerds. So the amount of cool people I've met over the course of this 2.5 days has been great. Just nobody that's not an awesome person. Like I've met no jerks, and there's like 200,000 people in this place, man. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely loving the con. That's all I've got to say. You know the deal with the comments. You hit that. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, if you're new here, hit that subscribe and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the Seaman Cinema Sit Down, Day 2 Comic-Con recap in the books. A little late, but we got it done. I'm the Seaman. I am signing off, getting back out for Day 3.
Did you know that you can get more Seaman videos just by clicking here or here, and you can get all of them if you subscribe?